What's up, you guys? How y'all doing? So, University of Hawaiʻi basketball team, the men's basketball team, they began conference play on the road at Long Beach State. Now, this is one of those things where I kind of see as kind of like a bit of an in-between kind of thing as far as beginning conference play at this early in December is concerned, especially with non-conference not over and done with just yet, because normally they begin after the Diamond Head Classic. Excuse me. I'm going to put up my banner here first. They lost 76-68. And I put possibly unprepared with a question mark because the way that they played tonight, it looked like something just was not clicking. And that led me to believe that maybe UH was not quite prepared yet to deal with some of the faster-paced teams because the Big West is a guard-oriented squad. And speaking of the Big West, they're about to lose another team to the Mountain West. I'm going to talk about that a little later. But first of all, guys, before I get to my recap of UH versus Long Beach State, guys, remember, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to, or if you think that or if you just want to see some of my other games. But for as far as these videos are concerned, if you think I'm worth listening to, that's good enough for me. So remember, guys, subscribe. Let's get into this. Okay, so UH versus Long Beach State. Long Beach State is one of those teams that can kind of be hot and cold, and unfortunately UH had dealt with them when they were just piping hot. Particularly, the one guy who really schooled the University of Hawaiʻi for Long Beach State was Devin Askew. I saw the game on Spectrum Sportsnet, and UH, they got off to they were pretty competitive in the first half, but as far as the second half is concerned, Long Beach State just turned on the back burners and just motored away from the University of Hawaiʻi, which led me to believe that maybe UH came a little bit unprepared because the way that UH played tonight, they didn't play bad per se, but it seemed like there may have possibly been a hangover from the loss to Grand Canyon. And while some may say that Grand Canyon took their foot off the gas, I don't believe that for 2 seconds. You know why? UH found a way to execute a lot more alertly and a lot more vigilantly, and that's why they were able to come back to within a point. But unfortunately, they could not take advantage of their next possessions, and Grand Canyon came away the winners. And with a team like Long Beach State, where they have quite a bit of athletic players, this is one of those times where I felt that UH may have came in unprepared, because it turns out another guy. They actually had two other guys that cracked double digits that proved to be a real pain in the butt to the University of Hawaiʻi. Austin Johnson and TJ Wainwright. Okay? And it turns out that Austin Johnson used to be on UC Irvine, and then he transferred to Long Beach State. And that got me thinking, man, how can these other teams get all these in-conference transfers and University of Hawaiʻi can never get one? And like I said before, sometimes it seems like the only way that you're going to get an in-conference transfer is if the guy's from Hawaii. But it's happened on the Wahine basketball team with Lily Wahine Kapu transferring from Fullerton to UH. But when you look at other sports, it's happened quite often. On the softball team, there's Addison Kostrencic, and she was on Long Beach State, and she transferred to UH. But I'm kind of getting off a little bit here. But anyway, as far as this is concerned, I would kind of give this performance probably a B-. I mean, UH, they looked all right, but something tells me that they probably were not ready yet. And that's kind of why I felt that having a conference game this early in December may not have necessarily been the best thing that could have happened to the University of Hawaiʻi. Were they still trying to find themselves? I'd say yes, But then again, you start off conference play. The way that this team has been playing, it takes them a little bit to really get into a good rhythm. And I've seen this kind of thing from UH a little bit too often. And that is that when the non-conference season goes on, there's kind of no pressure involved. But when conference play comes, there seems to be some kind of hidden pressure being added, and the team really can't come away with the win against the team that they really should be beating. And Long Beach State is one of those teams, in my opinion, that UH should have come away with a win, which is why I picked them for 2-point favorites. But then again, give them credit. I mean, Long Beach State has quite a bit of guys like the three that I mentioned, Devin Askew, Austin Johnson, and TJ Wainwright. And Devin Askew was certainly way too much for the University of Hawaiʻi to handle, because he had 28 points to lead Long Beach State. And as far as UH is concerned, who led the team there? Marcus Greene with only 17. So you can kind of see how lopsided some of the scoring was. But still, UH did make it a game. They did lead early, and they did come out to the tune of an 11-0 run in the first half and led by 7. But unfortunately, Long Beach State gave a take that with an 11-0 run of their own, and they were able to lead throughout after that. So unfortunately, this did not turn out the way that I was hoping for, but I have a feeling that it was probably because there was one part of their game that just wasn't up to par. Because it was just one of those nights where if someone is scoring lights out on the other team, then there's just not much you can do about it. But as far as what I can see, you know what? It's only the first game. There's 19 more to go. And the next time they play is against UC Santa Barbara in 2025. But as far as from my personal view, having a conference game this early in December, because it took place on December 7th, having a conference game this early in December, I wasn't too big a fan of it. Even if it was a team that UH was probably going to beat from the get-go. I don't know if that was really the best idea. Of course, you can't really make any changes to the schedule. You can only add teams. You can only add or lose teams because of other circumstances. And there have been times where games have been canceled because of lack of available players. And, of course, you have COVID going around. And if there were COVID concerns in the roster, then the game is a no contest and it won't be made up. But as far as this is concerned, it was overall kind of like a so-so game. But UH didn't really let them get away. I like to think that they could have beat Long Beach State because of their kind of lousy record. But then again, Long Beach State is one of those teams that takes on some higher power talent, like how we've had some higher power talent as well. I mean, we had North Carolina. Unfortunately, we lost that, and we took on the future Mountain West opponent, Grand Canyon, and we lost that as well. So I'm hoping that there was no hangover from the Grand Canyon loss, but you know what? There's still a long way to go. There's still time to turn things around, and I believe in this team just as much as the next one. Okay, so that's it for my recap of Long Beach State. So I'm going to put up my banner here, and speaking of the Big West, here comes my new banner. That's right. UC Davis to move to the Mountain West in 2026. Same deal as the University of Hawaiʻi. Now, a bomb was dropped. Now, this was the bomb that was dropped because one would wonder if UC Davis may have seen the light as well, just like how a lot of sports people in Hawaii myself included, have seen the Big West as a scrappy league, as just a crap conference, and just how they only take the winner of the Big West tournament into the dance, which I think should really be changed. I do believe that there should be at least 2 teams out of the Big West that should represent the Big West in the dance. And the University of Hawaiʻi is the only team so far that has advanced furthest in the NCAA tournament. In 2016, they made it to the second round, only to fall to Maryland on the road, which was unfortunate then. But something tells me that UC Davis may very well have seen the light as well, and they're just sick and tired of having their seasons ended after the Big West tournament, just like how University of Hawaiʻi is. And the way that it is, the Mountain West gets as many as 6 teams into the dance, while other schools, or I should say other conferences like the Pac-12, they get 3 teams, maybe even more than that. And the Mountain West had 6 teams, or 4 to 6 teams, really. And you can't help but think that with UC Davis moving to that conference as well, it's just like us. This can only be a good thing, because our chances of making it to the dance have gone up a little bit. So the way that it goes is the fact that UC Davis is probably already fed up with the Big West just as much as we are. And something tells me that the Big West could fall apart and maybe even cease to exist in basketball, but we'll never know. But considering that you only take the top team or the winner of the Big West tournament, really that has to change. You should really take both teams who make it to the finals in the tournament, regardless of the outcome. They should go to the dance, and third place should get an NIT bid or something like that. But that's the way I see it. So something tells me that Davis is kind of following us. They definitely, and you can't blame them. I mean, the Big West is nothing but a crappy conference because they only take the winner. And a lot of times, and just about every single time, it's like a matter of life and death. I mean, I don't care if you're Santa Barbara or UH or Cal State Fullerton or UC Davis. If you make it to the dance, you sure as hell better have luck on your side. And the University of Hawaiʻi is the only one that's had that. So I don't know if this is going to help Davis. I don't know if this is going to help Hawaiʻi either. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of years. And I'm not quite sure who's going to be added to the Big West with UC Davis leaving, because UC San Diego is now eligible for the postseason because they were transitioning to Division I, and they had a 4-year probationary period, so to speak, which meant that once the Big West regular season was over, that's it. They couldn't go to the tournament. Now they will this season. So, and at times it was unfortunate because San Diego really played well. Davis really played well, and I think they even won the Big West in 2017. UC Davis I'm talking about, or somewhere in the 20 teens anyway. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if it turns out to be a lucrative move. But as far as UH is concerned, we're glad we got in the Mountain West thanks to former AD Craig Angelos, which I still think was a really dick move on behalf of the University of Hawaiʻi. Because 18 months for Craig Angelos is certainly not enough time to really show what he's truly capable of. And he was showing a lot of it. And then UH had to ruin the best thing that could have happened to them. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. And remember, subscribe. We're going back to non-conference with Texas A&M Corpus Christi. The Islanders up next. We faced off against them once before, and that was in 2002 at the Stan Sheriff Center, which University of Hawaiʻi ended up winning. So I think we're going to win that one too. I'd probably put UH as 6-point favorites just because of the past history, and I think that they got a lot of frustration to air out and take out as well on Corpus Christi. So thanks, guys. And remember, subscribe. I'll see you all again. Well, I'm a Pona, folks.